Fog crept from the reeds, lacing the low fields like unspooled wool, and the bell of St. Brannach's Priory tolled, once, twice, as if warning of a shift too large for mortal hands. A blood-tinged dawn rose behind Castle Evermere, its black towers piercing the sky, while in the village below, shutters slapped and hounds refused breakfast. They whispered that the river was shrinking, hugging its bed as if hiding, and that the White Hart had been sighted in the thornwood, its eyes like glowing coals. Sir Aldric of Thornbridge rode from the smoke-stained borderlands with his squire Rowan, a freckled boy who talked too much when scared and too little otherwise. Aldric wore patched mail, his oath coin worn smooth but cherished. In his saddlebag lay a cedar coffer sealed with black wax, a parting gift from a dying lord whose last words were, "For she who keeps the crown honest," and a knot of unease in his throat. Aldric had heard stranger last words. Blood loosens tongues in odd ways. Queen Yseld sat on a thin throne in Evermere's great hall, her crown a narrow iron band, her smile as guarded as a keep's murder holes. King Rennick lay upstairs, sick with an unnamed fever, tended by brothers from St. Brannach's. The realm was fraying like cloth at the hem, harvest wagons stood light, northern barons prowled like wolves, and Lord Malreth, regent and all but titled, counted spears in the courtyard under the guise of prudence. Aldric knelt, offering the sealed coffer. The queen's hand hovered before she broke the wax with her thumbnail. Inside lay a river stone veined with silver, old as the hills, thrumming faintly as if remembering a song. The queen winced upon touching it. "The heart of the ford," she whispered, "so it isn't mere legend. In that land, the river ever held more than water. Long ago, the monastery's texts said, a crownless queen had bargained at the ford, promising fairness and truth in judgments, else the waters would take and keep. Each generation renewed the oath with bread, blood, and a symbol of the realm. 70 years had passed since the last oath, and folk had grown proud. Wells turned brackish, fishermen found their nets torn as if by teeth, and every third night a child awoke weeping, whispering of antlers in the moonlight. "Help me reach the ford before the new moon," the queen urged, her gray eyes steady as winter's sea meeting his without flinching. Lord Malreth calls this a nursery tale. He prefers archers and taxing song. Brother Tancred, the priory's prior, nodded gravely. Many words are meant for the old willow. Some are prayers, others apologies. Aldric and Rowan rode with a handful of the queen's men along the river path through villages filled with worry. Children followed hoof prints as if they spelled salvation. Near the thornwood, they spotted strange hoof marks, deep and crow-like. Rowan stopped joking, tucking his rosary beneath his tunic. They camped beneath oaks that dropped acorns like knuckles, waking to damp bread and dreams filled with teeth. Halfway to the ford, a messenger in Malreth's livery arrived, all clatter and false innocence. He spoke of urgent counsels and the king's sudden recovery, to be elaborated upon in the hall. The queen thanked him, a chill smile freezing dragon's breath. "He knows," she told Aldric, as the hooves faded. "He'll call me faithless for leaving without his say." Her jaw tightened. Yet oaths are older than counsels. At the ford, the river spread thin over stones like a widow's veil, glimmering under a sickle moon. The willow leaned like a gossipy aunt. Brother Tancred laid out the rite with the deftness of a cook. The queen held the heart as if it were a songbird. "Bread for the hungry," she murmured, laying down a loaf. "Blood for the truth," she said softly, offering her palm to the knife. Then sprites of torchlight erupted among the alders as Malreth's men emerged from darkness, black-clad and resolute. Malreth himself advanced in polished steel. "Your Majesty, a quaint pilgrimage. I thought to protect you from superstition and treason." Aldric stepped between queen and regent. "You don't believe, yet you fear." He drew his sword, its sound like a hawk's cry. Steel clashed, and the river took note. The queen's blood fell in drops onto the water and smoked. Wind whipped the willow, and mist rose like the breath of a giant. Rowan fought and sobbed, laughter escaping as he was, still but 16. Brother Tancred chanted words too ancient to be fashionable. In the melee, Aldric faced Malreth. The regent's blade was quick, his smile quicker. "You choose the wrong dying house, Thornbridge," he hissed, sword sliding under Aldric's guard and kissing his right forearm. Numbness rolled down like winter over a field. Wounded, Aldric fought on with his left, clumsy as a plow in stony ground. Then the White Hart stepped into the ford, a pale cliff of muscle and grace, its eyes red as coals, antlers like midnight branches. Men fell back, jerked by an unseen force. It gazed at the queen, the stone in her palm, and Aldric's bleeding wound, lowering its head. Bread for the hungry, the queen steadied her voice. Truth for the governed, judgment for the false. She cupped river water and whispered apologies for the past. The heart snorted, and the water rose silently, lifting like silk. Malreth lunged in anger, but the flood seized him, like a mother taking a disobedient child by the scruff. He tumbled, fingers clawing the air, shocked the world hadn't bent to his ambition. Aldric then faced a choice: reach for Malreth's hand, or brace the queen as the current surged. He looked at Rowan, now missing 2 teeth and grinning, and chose his liege. The river slapped his chest, stole his breath, and took more. When the waters receded, his sword hand was a dead weight from shoulder to knuckle. The queen shivered, the heart dull as common stone. She smiled fleetingly, then not at all. "The oath is heard," Brother Tancred murmured. Behind them, the river laughed in its old channels, sleek and content. Somewhere downstream, fishermen would catch nets heavy with secrets. They returned to Evermere under cold stars. King Rennick lingered, neither dying nor thriving. The queen sat on her thin throne, water still beaded at her cuffs, while Malreth vanished, becoming a cautionary tale. Some swore they heard a man cursing under the ford during storms. Aldric of Thornbridge hung his sword above the hearth and built a small hut by the willow, mending nets with his good hand, watching for antlers in the mist. Rowan rose in the queen's guard, pretending to avoid pastry-filled visits. The wells cleared, tithes lightened, and judgments became slower yet cleaner. Yet on the new moon, the queen walked the ford alone, and some said the river braided her hair with reeds, whispering that a promise once fed is never full. If you pass Evermere at dusk, when the bell tolls twice and the fog scents of iron, you may see a knight with a stiff arm and a queen with wet hems, standing where the water shivers. They won't ask your name, but if you have a loaf, break it. If you have a truth, speak it. The river remembers, and in the remembering, so do we.